I listened to this wonderful speaker tell her story, and I just thought to myself, I need to meet this person. It has to happen. And then very next day we connected and we had a chat. And I said, you need to come and speak in Sydney. And she said, okay. So here we are. So our very next speaker is doing some amazing stuff. Please welcome to the stage Sandra D'Souza from Ellect.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. So today I'm going to talk about bringing gender equality and gender in business leadership through Ellect Stars. So what is Ellect Stars? I'll get to that. I just actually wanted to tell you a little bit about myself. I've been advocating for gender equality for 20 years. You can see some very young pictures of me, so just to prove that I've been doing it for a long time. And but I also had over the 2 decades and a bit more a wonderful corporate career, and the last 10 years I've become a serial entrepreneur. So I have a very strong business background, but what I did was that I volunteered for an international NGO that was advocating for women's issues. Back then, it's what we call, but it's gender equality. And they've also, funny enough, they think that they like my background and what I do. So I got elected as the state president, liaising with government. And then I was invited to be on their international board of directors, which was, the organization was affiliated with United Nations. What it brought me to see was amazing initiatives that was around gender equality all around the world, from the international strategic level all the way to the grassroots community level. There are a lot of people doing amazing things, a lot of organization working through, and I had exposure to a lot of research and discussion, sometimes a little bit of a talk fest, but certainly some great actions that were there. And as you know, in 2015, the amazing thing, the Sustainable Development Goals were developed, and seeing what the goal is to try and achieve by 2030 gender equality, I thought, yeah, we can do it. It's time. So this is where I thought, well, you know what? It's time to create a business creating impacts. I was early on in my thinking and didn't realize a lot of businesses were doing that, but I'm pleased to see, as you can see now, that there are businesses, there's this whole movement to align yourself with the SD goals. And what I wanted to do was not be in charity, not being not-for-profit, but create a business, a purpose-driven business addressing gender equality. It's not easy to do. It took a while, but in 2019, on International Women's Day, I launched Ellect. And over those years, there's been a bit of a roller coaster. But what has been good is that I've received some amazing feedback, some amazing interest, work around it. And last year, I was selected as one of the 13 entrepreneurs around the world to participate in the NASDAQ Milestone Makers program. I was the only Australian, so you can imagine the meeting times, for those who know about time zones, 2:30 a.m. You really cannot get your brain working. It takes a while to warm up. But I did it 3 months, accelerator program, and when you achieve that program, the end result is that you get your mugshot on the NASDAQ tower. So thank you. Thank you. And in that program, I met the other entrepreneurs were also doing the same thing, creating amazing businesses aligned with the Sustainable Development Goals, creating impacts. All of this work, can I just say, with also, you know, like you'll hear from the speakers and what Mick is doing, is, and also the host of this venue, sorry, I've forgotten your name so quickly, is just creating impacts. It's actually trying to do good. And I'm telling you, halfway across the world, all around the world, I'm meeting people all the time actually doing that. And it's not just about talking about it. It's no longer a talk fest. So then with the work and with what Ellect is doing, we launched Ellect Stars at the start of this year. And how this came about was out of curiosity. Like I said, we were exposed to a lot of research, so we wanted to see in all the companies in the Australian Stock Exchange, how many of them are actually achieving gender equality. And I had a feeling thinking that, Australia's a little bit more progressive. We do get a bad name sometimes, but the reason why I said that is because there are reporting requirements on diversity in ASX, and there's also companies that have 100 employees or more that need to report to WGEA, the Government Agency on Gender Equality. So we did this. We went through every single company and we give them a point if they've achieved each one of these accomplishments. The first one is whether they have at least one woman in the CEO-CFO duo. They get a point. If they have a woman board chair. The third point is if they've achieved 25%, at least 25% of women in boards and at least 25% of women in senior leadership team. So we went through over 2,100 companies, and we would be happy with 3 points, at least 3 points. If they get at least 3 out of 4, we think that they're actually making progress towards gender equality. So would you like to know how many companies, and this is using publicly available information, how many companies achieve 3 or more points? Yeah? I'll give it away now. It's 98. 98 companies out of 2,100, and that's less than 5% for those who are quick with their numbers. And so I could not believe it. I thought, this is surprising. We checked the data again. Then we did the same exercise with NASDAQ. NASDAQ has this amazing CEO who's a woman and making some amazing progress towards gender equality and in terms of what they're trying to push for. And there was over 8,000 companies, and it took a little bit longer. And only 209 companies achieved that. We've just finished, actually, my team has given me the numbers. Well, we haven't finished London Stock Exchange. We only got to about 500 of them, but there are 39 companies so far that has earned. So still very, very low numbers. So we thought, okay, how do we change this? I've been doing this for 20 years. We've got to really stop talking about it and stop saying like, yeah, we're making progress, but we're not really. We're really not making enough progress. So we've launched Ellect Stars. And Ellect Stars is a digital badge using blockchain technology. And why we're using that is because when the company qualifies for the badge and they have it on their website, they qualify for only 12 months. And to prevent them from using Google Images and copying it, we all know one of us do that, that's the stuff. If they don't qualify after 12 months, if they don't renew it, we can use that technology to dim the badge. So immediately we can have some integrity around the badge. And so with that, we are pushing this out. We've actually put all this data, by the way. Every company that we have gone through are actually on our website. So you can see all the companies in terms of, what the points that they've achieved in one of the 4 things. And what's good about these criteria, by the way, and I know there are others who do that, is that it's really simple. It's either whether you've done it or you haven't done it. There's no argy-bargy, any excuses. It's whether you've done it or you haven't done it. And the other thing that I've done is I wanted to find out from the CEOs that have done it, the 98 of them, how do they do it? So I reached out to them and actually started interviewing them. And I'm still going through that interview. We're almost at the tail end. And I'm actually going to write a book about it. So thank you. They're amazing, I have to say. It's been really amazing interviewing them and finding out, how they're doing it. And I won't give away the book yet, but there is one thing that I will let you know what was common across all of them. Oh, sorry, I forgot to tell you the stats. Well, I'll skip through the stats. Diversity. They were actually focused on recruiting diversity and having diversity at all levels of their management and their teams. And I'm not talking about, but by just focusing on diversity, they inherently achieve gender equality. So, and then they're proud of it too. They're proud of the cultural, the religion, the racial, every aspect of diversity. They were very happy that they have achieved that. And the CEOs and it doesn't matter what industry. I have spoken to from mining industry, different sizes, from mining startups to very large financial services company. Okay, and there's also, I won't give away yet, but one that had actually got 30 offices around the globe, and they've got 6,500 staff. And that CEO's only joined the company 2 years ago, and within 2 years, he's achieved from all white male board to diversity across, not just the board, but also the leadership team. There was another financial company where the CEO joined in. She managed to do the change within 6 months. There's one that wanted to take it, the diversity was also in mining. I'm talking about mining because it's so male dominated. It's just amazing in terms of their achievement. And it was an 8-year process, but he was looking at how to include as many of the Indigenous community into the senior management. So that was part of it. And if I go back, I think I just go back in terms of the stats. And I wanted to go back to not ignore that. It's just, I was curious also why the numbers are so low. And we're in 2022. And I know I've given away the solution in terms of what the CEOs have done, because I was really excited to see there is a group of people and it can be done. And the book is going to help others to try and bring that gender equality. But McKinsey have also published a report. They've published amazing reports and in terms of research around gender equality. But this is just last year, by the way. This is just September last year. And it shows at all levels of management, we're still not achieving, women are still underrepresented. And I like this slide because it's not just about gender, it's also about diversity. And that is still a big gap in trying to achieve that. So this is coming back to Ellect Stars, is that we need to actually we need to celebrate the companies that have achieved it. The badge is to give them that badge of honor. And after meeting each of these CEOs, they are proud to have that badge of honor, and let's showcase. And let's show women, let's show investors to say, these are the companies that are actually putting things in place, processes in place, whether it's culture, whether it's recruitment process, to say, we want to recruit, we want to have more diversity, we want to build in sustainability. I mean, there are other things in terms of what they've incorporated into it, but let's showcase, let's make it easy to highlight them. Let's amplify that message, that unless they have an Ellect star, which is very simple, have they achieved it or not, we know for sure that they are really actually trying to achieve things. They're actually making a difference. So, what can you do? Actively recruiting diversity. If I want to give you a very simple message, is actually, and you don't have to be a CEO, by the way. I have spoken over the years, but even more recently, spoken to, and actually, interestingly, and I'm not saying, it's as a negative thing, a lot of wonderful white men who know that they're in a position of privilege and actually have supported, championed diversity, women, and not realizing they're doing it. They just felt that diverse thinking actually helps team grow, helps performance, helps increase profitability as well. And they actually care about people. And so this is something that you can do. Whether you're a team leader or whether you're a CEO, actually look at recruiting diversity. Be a voice of change. Be a case for change. And if you can, just the more people do it, the more we'll understand. This is important. It's no longer just it's no longer a case that for an international NGO to say this is what we need to do. We can actually all do it as part of business. And then lastly, I just want to point out the 40-40-20 rule, which is a Nordic law, but it actually works quite well in a law of organization. And to overcome the argument about hiring on merit. Nobody wants to hire somebody just because of their gender and not of their talent. But you can't tell me that there's no talented women in the roles to be recruited in boards or CEOs or in senior positions. The thing is that if we make this conscious change and say, let's aim for 40% women, 40% men, 20%, you can go either way. We're actually seeing change. We're actually seeing diversity. And so if you could remember, if I could just leave you with this, and hopefully that will help you remember, talk to your manager, talk to your CEO and say, this can be done. It's actually, let's start off with baby steps. I'm all for baby steps because it is a complex issue. Try this and you'll start to see that ripple effect that Richard was talking about. Thank you. Thank you.